Hi, everyone. How is everybody feeling today? If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Allana Robinson. I'm a parenting coach for parents of toddlers, preschoolers, and kindergartners, and I help parents understand why their children are misbehaving and how to fix it without yelling, shaming, or using timeouts. Let me know if you're here and that you can hear me. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it's not easy to take time out of your busy day, especially when you have young kids, but I'm going to make this worth your while, I promise. So grab a bevy, even if that's just a bit of water to sip on while we talk about why your kids won't listen to you. When you join my Facebook group, The Parenting Posse, and if you're not already in there, I encourage you to join. But when people join my group, they get asked 3 questions. And we just use these questions to, one, make sure that we're not letting creepers and spammers in, but two, to keep a bead on what parents are struggling with most. I put all of those answers into a spreadsheet, and every once in a while I go and I sort through them, and it just gives me an idea of, well, parents are really struggling with this right now, or wow, this topic seems to be coming up a lot recently. And the number one struggle parents have had for 4 years running, not listening. That has been the number one spot for 4 years. So I just want to take some time out and talk about why your kids don't listen to you and what you can do about it. Sound good? All right, let's jump in. So, what we usually do when our kids don't listen to us is, like, when we give them a direction and they ignore us, they do the exact opposite of what we asked. Or what I think most parents find the most infuriating is they acknowledge you and they act like you never spoke. That stresses parents out. It frustrates us so much. It makes your blood pressure spike. I know that there isn't anything else that triggers parents like not listening. And I know this because 4 years of data and over 7,000 members. So, what do we do when that happens? Usually, we raise our voice because we seem to be under the collective impression that not listening is somehow attached to not hearing. So we tend to say it louder and louder and louder until we're yelling at them. And I hear that all the time. My kids won't listen until I yell. And it's exhausting, isn't it? I've also heard from a bunch of parents that they've just given up and go straight to yelling after the first request now because that seems to be the only way that they can get a response from their kids. Well, I get it. I understand that deep seated frustration that takes over when your child isn't listening to you. Yelling at them is pretty much the best way to ensure that they never listen to you. Why? Because of how our nervous systems work. So I want you to imagine that everyone has a gas tank, just like your car. And just like your car, sometimes you wake up with a full tank of gas and sometimes not so much. And everything that you do throughout the day, that sucks a little bit of gas out of your tank. It takes a little bit of energy. Some things take a lot of energy out of your tank, like getting stuck on the phone with your in laws because you didn't look at the caller ID before picking up the phone. And there are things that put energy back into your tank, things that give you more energy than they take to do. Usually, these are the things that you do for fun. So, when your nervous system is calm, doing various tasks takes the least amount of energy that it is possible for that task to take. When your nervous system is hyper aroused, meaning you're all worked up, that's when it's going to take the most amount of energy to do any given task. And everybody's experienced it. When you're calm, you're super productive and you get everything done really easily. And then you've got time left over to do what you want. When you're stressed out, though, the tiniest little task, like putting your dishes in the dishwasher instead of just throwing them in the sink, feels like that's going to be the end of you, right? Tell me in the comments if you've ever experienced that. I find that this happens to me a lot with laundry. If I'm calm and nothing else is demanding my energy, I can get 8 loads done, folded and away in a matter of hours, and it's no big deal. But when I'm busy and rushed and other things are demanding my energy, the laundry starts to pile up because I just have no fucks left to give. And even just turning on the machine makes me feel like I'm going to keel over. So, what does this have to do with our kids not listening? Kids are still learning how to prioritize their energy. And unlike adults, their mental tools, the executive functioning skills that allow them to do literally everything, haven't fully developed yet. It's like if I give you a dull saw and tell you to go cut down a tree, it's going to take you all damn day and you're going to be exhausted and the tree still won't be down. But if I sharpen your saw, you'll fell that tree in a matter of minutes and still have enough energy to go on with your day, right? Same thing. Our brains have tools that they use to do everything. And some of those tools take more energy to use than others, depending on how well we've developed them, how sharp they are. So the reason your kids aren't listening has nothing to do with actually hearing you, but because they're trying to figure out if they have the energy to do it, and if they don't, how to get the energy to do it, and how much energy it's going to take. None of this is conscious, by the way. They aren't sitting there going, I wonder if I have the energy to pick up my toy and put it on the shelf. This is all happening in their unconscious mind. It's the same way that our bodies make sure that we breathe without having to think about it. All of this happens literally thousands of times a second. So if any one of those mental tools that we need is weak, and we haven't properly prioritized our energy, then the whole chain breaks down. And generally that means that our brain just goes, nope, can't do that. And the information never makes it as far as them processing it as a request. And then we yell. And what happens when we yell? We shock the brain into thinking it's in danger. And in order to keep us safe, it produces cortisol. Anyone here familiar with cortisol? Usually it's called the stress hormone, and it's basically emergency energy. So when you yell, their brain goes into danger mode and pumps us full of emergency energy. And that's why when you yell, your child suddenly complies, not because you were loud and they finally heard you, but because they've suddenly been given that injection of energy that they didn't have 2 minutes before. The problem is that when we're exposed to high levels of cortisol on a regular basis, it starts to lose its effect, which is why parents are saying that they just have to go straight to nuclear after a while. And there's evidence that prolonged exposure to high cortisol levels actually causes damage to the brain, and we obviously don't want that. So how else can we get them the energy that they need to listen to us? Well, one of the best ways is to sharpen those tools, to make it so that they can use them with the least effort possible, so that it won't matter if they have low energy or if they're hyper aroused. They'll be able to do more with less. And that's the long-term solution. But that takes time. It takes time to sharpen mental tools. The short-term solution is to reduce the demands on them to use those tools. So instead of making them cut down the tree all by themselves, we're going to step in and do a little bit of the work for them. Not all of it, but just enough that they can actually do the thing. Now, don't twist this and be like, Allana said to just do everything for him. No, that is not what I'm saying. This is actually where I invoke what's called Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, which is basically the difference between what a child can do by themselves and what they can do with a little bit of help. That space between, that's where we want to hang out. We want to do the minimum possible to get them over the hump. And that's just a stopgap, remember. It's not a long-term strategy. The long-term strategy is to sharpen the tools that they need so they don't need any help to use them. The problem is that most parents are expecting their children to just sharpen their tools by themselves. And just like sending a 3-year-old to go grind an axe by themselves, it's a bad idea. They can't and shouldn't be doing it by themselves. We need to help them by giving them lots of opportunities to practice, because generally children only get an opportunity to try to use their tools when there's a demand on them, when they need to do something. And if the only opportunity you get to try to sharpen your tools is also when you need to be using it, It doesn't really work out, does it? And that's why they continuously fail, and their listening skills just seem to get worse when we yell. So, how can you tell if your child needs to sharpen their mental tools? Well, one, you're probably yelling a lot. You're probably having those moments of intense frustration because they aren't listening and you don't know what else to do but yell. You've probably also gotten frustrated because your child can do something sometimes but not others. And there's no reason that you can see that they can put on their shoes at daycare but not at home. You can also tell that your child needs to sharpen their mental tools because they're frustrated. They will get upset and often cry that they can't do something that they want to do. And adults generally read this as acting helpless. They know that they know how to do it, but they also know that they don't have the energy to use the mental tools that they need to use to do it. Say that 10 times fast. So are you recognizing that this is probably something that you need to prioritize? Nobody likes yelling. It's exhausting. And if you take nothing else away from this, let it be that you don't have to yell to get your kids to listen. Your kids aren't ignoring you because they're trying to piss you off or they're trying to frustrate you. It's just an imbalance of resources to demands. And the great thing is that it's actually really easy to fix. I know it sounds all neuroscience-y and complicated, but I swear this isn't difficult. It's not something where you have to sit down and work on worksheets or even carve time out of your day to work on it. It's just about giving your child playful opportunities to practice. So if this has been helpful, if you've had a bit of an aha moment, or even if you don't really quite get it, it doesn't really make sense, I'd love to continue the conversation in the Parenting Posse Facebook group. The link is in the description, and I'd love to hear your take. Thank you so much for being here with me and taking the time out of your day to learn a little bit of child development. I'll see you again soon. Bye.